That extraordinarily powerful honoring of our celebration of Black History Month. I came across a report that I wanted to share with you. Perhaps some of you have heard this story, but here goes. Diamond D's Brothel began construction to expand their building to accommodate their ever-growing business. The local church initiated daily prayer services asking God to stop the expansion. The night before the brothel's expansion was to open, lightning struck and burned the entire place to the ground. The church folk began boasting about the power of prayer. The following week, the brothel sued the church on the grounds that it was, quote, ultimately responsible for the demise of their building, either through direct or indirect divine action or means. The church denied any and all responsibility for the building's demise. As the judge read through the plaintiff's complaint and the defendant's reply, he opened the court by saying, I don't know how in the hell I'm going to decide this case. It appears we have a brothel who staunchly believes in the power of prayer and an entire church congregation that doesn't think it works at all. Thanks, Jeffrey. So I ask you, do you believe in the power of prayer? That's what this morning is all about. You know, we're welcoming another year of training in our Prayer Chaplaincy program, a powerful program for every individual that's engaged in it, and a powerful program that serves the community of Unity on the Base so well. And it's so appropriate that we have this Prayer Chaplain Ministry here, and that we're going to hear from some of its representatives this morning, because prayer, my friends, is the heart of the Unity movement. Please hear me on this. It's the heart of the Unity movement, and I believe it is the heart of your life. It is the understanding that regardless of anything you may have been told to the contrary, you have a direct conduit to the presence of God that indwells you always. You don't need a minister. That's hard to say. You don't need a minister. As wonderful and community-oriented as a church can be, you don't need that. Some of the most powerful prayers I prayed have been in the most unlikely locations. But they have been effective nonetheless, because the art of prayer, more than beseeching God or demanding things of God, is for you to wake up to the realization of who you are through quiet contemplation and the understanding that the presence of God indwells you. I've shared with you before, there are prayers of despair. Please, dear God, help me. Please, dear God, help someone else. Nothing wrong with that. We've all been there. We may be there again. It's an on-the-knees prayer. There's also the prayer of repair, which is that interesting little habit we have where we want to ask God to fix everybody around us because we see that they are broken. We want God to fix ourselves because we perceive ourselves to be broken. God has nothing to do with that, my friends, because God has already created you in God's image and God's perfection and God's likeness. Then there's finally the prayer to be aware, and that's really what we're going to be focusing on this morning. The prayer to be aware of who you are and what you really have access to in this life experience. This morning, it is more than an honor and a joy to welcome two of our longest-standing prayer chaplains at Unity on the Bay to join me in a dialogue on how they understand prayer and how they practice prayer in their lives. Please join me in welcoming the chair of our Prayer Ministry Council, Carmen Navedo, and one of our longest-standing prayer chaplains at Unity on the Bay, and a familiar face to all of you, Aaron Moore. Good morning, Carmen. And good morning, Aaron. I'm going to do just a little housekeeping here so we can pull this off in a best way.
Good morning.
Good morning, my beloved friends. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be with us this morning and to share what I know will be eloquent words about the power of prayer. So, Carmen, I think I'm going to start with you. Since you are the chair of our Prayer Ministry Chaplain Council, what does prayer mean to you? What have you discovered prayer to be, maybe especially in some ways that you never knew it was since you entered into the Prayer Chaplain program and have become such a devoted part of the prayer energy of unity on the Bay.
Thank you. Prayer has become part of my life. It has become part of my everyday. And from Buddhism, making meditations, making walking a meditation, from Buddhism, making eating a meditation. It just gave me permission to look at everything, slow down, like everything could be a meditation. Everything can be a prayer. Just like that song that we sing sometimes on Sundays, every thought becomes a prayer without becoming paranoid about it. Prayer has become that part of my life. And from gratitude to forgiveness, to omnipresence, to being able to understand or work on understanding, right? Sometimes I remember, sometimes I forget that it's not that God is omnipresent, it's that God is omnipresence. And he is in every one of us. And so that brings us into this oneness that even though it may seem that we are separate from each other, even though we may seem to be being seen through the screen right now or here in person a few feet away from each other, we're still all part of the one. And so like the song that Ray just finished singing, it's just like, will you stand with me? Will you stand with your brother? Will you stand with your sisters? We're part of that oneness. So living that can be challenging on the day-to-day. But it has made me, through the practice of forgiveness and gratitude, it has helped me to raise my vibration and to change the way I interact with those around me and change the world around me because of that.
I love the way you put that, Carmen. Thank you for the wisdom. That it centers around your changing yourself, maybe more so than other people or outside circumstances, but then they change in turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. And I also like the concept that prayer is not something that we necessarily go into or out of in some kind of formal way. It really is like a way of being and just a way of approaching whatever life sort of brings to our table in any given moment. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you not only for these words, but for what you bring to the Prayer Chaplain Ministry every single day of the year. And I know firsthand as a testimonial that you do that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're blessed. Thank you. Aaron, my friend, fountain of wisdom that I consider you to be, I truly do appreciate how you have allowed your life to become, from my perspective, a living prayer. And it seems that you become more rooted in that with each passing year that I've known you. So can you tell us a little bit about how you understand prayer and how you put it into practice in your own life?
Certainly. Good morning, everyone. I came to Unity on the Bay in 1989. I became a member in 1990. I started with the prayer ministry a year after it started. It started in 2019, and I began as a member of that program in 2020. When I began, prayer to me was truly a big waste of time. Today, I pray daily, sometimes hours at a time. I've gotten to the place now where it just feels good inside. Mm-hmm. I don't pray for God to change anything because I know when I came here as a complete package. Everything that was mine to have, do, and experience came with me. And in the time that it takes for me to experience those things, I can pray those things into manifestation. I understand that. I don't pray for God to change anything. the substance, source, the truth of all life is right here. That's how I came to this place. God decided in her infinite way that she would love to have a specific experience. Here it is. And that's the way it is for all of us. Each one of us is a shining example of the perfect presence and representation of the source and divine consciousness of all, all life. And that's how I live. And that's how I live. I don't get it right all the time because this is a process. This process is the art of practicing and bringing into fruition the vibration of the Christ essence. Christ to me is not a person. Christ is the creative essence of God. And that is what we are as children of God. On this plane of existence, we are that source of creation that brings all of this into being. And it is through, it's through that vibration that prayer brings to us that we brings that into fruition. People, a lot of us are concerned about why does God let this happen? Why does God let that happen? God doesn't let any of that happen. We are the reason for whether or not our lives work for us or not. We are the reason that the wars won't stop, that problems with children won't stop, that people live on the streets, that people go hungry. We can change that like that. We can change that. And that's why I pray. Thank you.
I love your referring to prayer as a practice. And I say that with a sense of humility and compassion because I realize in unity we have very high standards when we talk about our ability to live as the Christ presence. And sometimes we're going to do better than others. Sometimes I have terrific days where I feel like I'm inches away from my manifestation of Christ perfection. And then I am sometimes shocked and dismayed to see how quickly I can lose that balance. But I think a lot of this has to do with being, the word that's coming to me is indoctrinated into a certain lifestyle and way of being that has become normal to us, or that we believe this is just the way it is. And it takes practice and it takes time to gradually catch ourselves when we're in that old understanding of who we are and put the brakes on it, basically, and say, there's a different path that I can choose here. I believe that for both of you, being prayer chaplains has been a part of this practice for sure. And that when you signed on the dotted line to become a prayer chaplain, little did you know probably how much that was going to impact your life. If you could just share a little bit with us, Carmen, on how being a prayer chaplain, and especially in the role that you play, where you're the chaplain of chaplains, how has that impacted you personally?
For us, we practice affirmative prayer,
Yes.
as you know. And so we have to be able to sit with a person, to be empathetic to what they are going. Sometimes that touches us too, because it so happens we'll attract somebody that has something going on that we're working through. Mm-hmm. So just being empathetic, connecting with a person, and at the same time holding that highest vision of that person, holding that vision of the solution, holding that vision of the miracle that has happened already. And so it's been such a practice of doing that. It's usually easier to do it for somebody else than to do it for ourselves. So in practicing to do it for somebody else, it has strengthened my ability to be able to do it for myself. Mm-hmm. And also, we have, in our statement of purpose, we are included. We take care of each other. We connect with each other. So we also face challenges, and we have a brother or a sister to reach out to call them to say, like, hey, I'm going through this. Will you pray with me? And so we pray with each other. We pray with our community. And so it has changed my life from that perspective, because even from seeing a challenge, seeing a problem, even sometimes being sucked into it, at some point I remember, and I can stand back and say, okay, there has to be a blessing in here. Show me the blessing in this challenge. Show me my next step forward. Show me what step do I need to take to raise my consciousness here. And so in that process of practicing with each other is truly a practice. Then it has strengthened my own personal practice. And it becomes, I think, almost seamless in our life the more we practice. The more it becomes part of our life, where we don't even think about it. Mm-hmm. And it just, like with my gratitude practice, I've seen like so many radical changes. That's like my easy way to raise my vibration. And now it's just, it's second nature for me as I go through my day, just being grateful for the street and the light and I didn't know they cut the trees at night and they water them. I was like, oh, thank God for them, working in the middle of the night so the highways look nice. And like being grateful about everything, about the electricity and the power and the lights and the colors and the stage. And this stage that came from China that took forever and a half because it was during the pandemic. And like all the little details that sometimes we take for granted, the gratitude practice has allowed me to just be grateful for, to acknowledge and recognize the blessings in my life. Even so, if I'm focusing on lack, if I'm focusing on a problem, switching my view, my eyesight, my glasses, to be able to see how I am rich, then it allows me to come back into the problem afterwards, or into the challenge with a different perspective.
Yeah. I love that idea of it becoming second nature. As we engage in the practice, it gets to the point. I remember a story back in the 1980s when I was working in Silent Unity, our international prayer ministry, and the lady who was the supervisor of the department that opened all the letters. Back then it was all, postage and mail, which we don't see too much of anymore. But it was a very snowy morning. She was on her way to work. There's a wicked turn in the highway on the way to Unity Village, our world headquarters. She ran across a patch of ice and went off the side of the road. And later, an hour or two, she showed up at work and she said, you know what the best part of that experience was? Because she was scared to pieces. She said, the moment that I realized I had lost control of the car, I started reciting the prayer of protection. There wasn't even a need to think about it. It just came. It was like prayer was her natural response, which I think is what we're all seeking to arrive at. Reverend Moore, yes. How has being a prayer chaplain all these years impacted your life?
Like I say, when I started here, I really didn't believe in prayer, right. And now I think it's really, really awesome. What I learned when I came here as a prayer chaplain is that it's not my place to more or less pray for anyone when they come to ask me for prayer. I'm to pray with them. Because what that person has brought to me when they come to me and ask me for prayer is something that I need prayer for also. And I'm grateful for that. And that's the impact that it has had on me. That I began learning about the oneness of our life when I came here to Unity. Prayer enforces that. Mm-hmm. Prayer adds on to that, with another opportunity to recognize the oneness of all life. And I'm learning also that when I'm doing what I call a personal prayer, it functions in the ethers, so I can't really have a personal prayer. Somebody out there somewhere is on the same wavelength, and this prayer is for them too. That's amazing. That is amazing. And I want to let you guys know, I'm loving this way of life. When I started here at Unity on the Bay, I was going into my 50s. And I'm going to let you put this together. I've been here at Unity on the Bay for more than 30 years.
Wow. I think that's worth a little. 30 years.
Yeah. Really, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Carmen. You like the wisdom that you're hearing from these two incredible souls? I've often said it's a misnomer to believe there's only one or two or three or four ministers in this community. I've watched the two of you and many of you minister to each other time and time again. If this is interesting to you, we are kicking off this morning our 2022 Prayer Chaplain Training. This is a very high commitment program, but it is one that I believe has the ability to change your life at depth. It will start in April with our prayer class on Saturday mornings from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. We'll do that for 4 weeks. Then in May, we'll come back for our first of two training intensives. That's May 20th through 22nd. And then back again in June 3rd through 5th for our second weekend intensive. This, my friends, represents an investment on your part in mastering the art of prayer. And I don't think there's a more valuable investment that you could ever make. So I want to invite you in the room and at home, if anything is stirring in your soul right now, that it might be your time to take prayer to the next level in your own personal life experience. Take a moment to stop by the table in the back of the room. We have prayer chaplains there that want to help you better understand the program. We're also going to be offering 2 orientations during the next couple months. And these will be opportunities for you to learn firsthand what's involved in the program and how you can participate. I believe of all the activities and programs we offer at Unity on the Bay, this one can be of the greatest transformative power in your life. Sometime this week, we're going to have our webpage up, so if you're watching online, take a moment to go to unityonthebay.org, and you can find out more information about the Prayer Chaplaincy program from that resource. Thank you both, my beloved friends, and thank you for not only being here this morning, but for all the service and the love and the prayer that you offer to our whole community. God bless. Your throne awaits you.
What incredible souls we had on this platform, right? Right, Unity on the Bay?
Yes, we did.
Oh, my goodness. Incredible, incredible, incredible. Thank you very much, Carmen. Thank you very much, Aaron. You both, when I think of the prayer chaplains, I think of both of you, you know? And I've asked you, Carmen, on so many different occasions, how is it that you do it? And your expressions are always just so beautiful, and you're always in such gratitude. And and it's got to be difficult, like she said, to hold space for someone else and maybe not think about yourself, you know? I was used to all those foxhole prayers. You know what I'm talking about, right, Reverend Chris? Please don't let me get pulled over. Please, please. Please let my shoes go on sale. Please, you know. Now I learned that, I pray for others instead of praying for myself, and that always comes back 100 times fold. And that's because of leaders like Aaron and Carmen that lead us the way, So please give them another round of applause. Love them. So here at Unity on the Bay, we believe in the spiritual law of giving and receiving, and now is your chance to give in gratitude. We've got envelopes for you. Please raise your hand if you need an envelope, and our ushers will hook you up with one. But if you'd like to go green, you can text GIVE to 833-245-5645. Folks at home, that info is on your screen for you, okay? And folks here in the house, the information is right here behind me. Set that up once, and it makes your life a lot easier. If you need some help setting it up, find one of us after service. We'll help you with that. Easy, 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 all right? So I'm going to give you a few seconds in silence to prepare your gift. How in heavens is Aaron almost 80 years old? That's crazy. I know I'm not the only one thinking that, right? That man don't age. All right, put your hand to your heart or your gift to your heart, and let's bless these gifts together. Divine love, that I am. Blessed is all that I give and all that I receive. Let's take a moment to bless the children. The children are in their own time of inspiration and learning in the Kids Zone, here in person and online. So let's get those hands together. Shake them up, shake them up, shake them up. Children, we love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. We behold the Christ in you, and we see you doing great things. As you heard from right here up on this platform, we have our prayer chaplains here to pray with you, okay, to hold space with you. I'm going to call the prayer chaplains on up. If you would like to sit with them after service, just grab them. Don't be shy, all right? That's what they're here for. And trust me, you will walk away a lot lighter. Maybe something came up that you don't want to walk away with or take home with you. That's what they're here for. Please, please, please use them. That sounded wrong. Use them, abuse them. All right, so we thank you for all. I'm going to invite Reverend Chris on up for our prayer for protection, followed by our peace song.
All right, Unity on the Bay, let's stand. Just a little. Get your energy rolling and flowing so you can pour it into this prayer and into our closing peace song. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Amen.